Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by Dork Publishing, expanding minds through fantasy since 2018. Learn more at the Dork Publishing website, www.dorcpublishing.com.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I am Kathy Blaze. Today we have one of the most talented photographers I know here in Arizona, but I'm going to let you be the judge for that. Let's welcome Mr. Chris Lays. Hello there.
How you doing?
Good.
Oh,
Good to see you.
same here.
It's been such a long time. But I see you out there working. You're
Long
keeping
time.
busy.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, how long? It's been a long time. Yeah, it has.
Yes.
It has.
Yes. I've met you some years ago when I was doing an event, and you were one of my photographers. And you were very humble, very helpful. I just have to say, I really appreciate you.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate it was the directors. It was the female directors program.
Yes.
And I met you, Eva,
Mm-hmm.
Ava.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days I'll figure it out.
I know. Get it right.
Right, get it right.
Look, don't be getting me in trouble.
No, I'm the one. I said it. But yeah, it was a great empowerment moment.
Yes.
To be able to be around all of you as you were coming up, as you were.
And that was around that time we were all coming up.
Yeah, we're all on the rise. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you were becoming very well known in the Arizona industry also.
Right. I had been known other places,
Mm-hmm.
but when they said, well, move to Arizona, do your thing there. So as I got here, people remembered who I was. I was like, wait a minute, didn't you do such and such? Didn't you do such and such? Yeah, we need you to come to our event.
Yeah.
We need you to come to our event. We need for you to do your thing there. So
Right.
that was it.
So speaking of coming to Arizona, where are you originally from, Chris?
New York.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not from New York.
Uh-huh.
I'm from the Bronx.
Oh.
The
He
Bronx.
said he's from the Bronx.
The Bronx, okay? Right, and it happens to be in New York.
So what brought you to Arizona?
Blaine. No, work, doing films, doing different events. I had done fashion shows all over the world, and I had never done anything in Arizona.
Okay.
And so my regular job as a network engineer brought me here.
Okay.
I was like, okay, let me do this. And then I left that because I was doing bi-coastal work. So I couldn't stay in one place. But I decided to stay here because I love the weather. And I found a group of people here who were really trying to do something.
Right.
Yourself, Moni Love.
Mm-hmm. She was on our show in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, amazing lady.
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
Definitely.
she is. So you moved to Arizona and you're doing photography, and I don't want to, people are really stuck on titles, so I want to make sure I get your title. Do you consider yourself a photographer? Because I know you're also doing in film.
Right.
So
right.
Is that your title that you use?
I don't have a solid title.
Okay.
I'm a photographer.
Okay.
I'm a videographer.
Okay.
I've been the director of photography on movie, So it's very hard for me to buttonhole myself.
Okay. Yeah, I know. People are really stuck on titles. So if you say, oh, this person's a photographer, he may consider himself a cinematographer or a director of photography. So it's really hard. So I always ask the question, what is your title? But as you state, you do multiple things.
Well, the highest title I guess I would have is either executive producer or director of photography.
Okay. So out of all the things you do, is there one that you're more passionate about?
Photography.
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 And what is it about photography?
you get to capture a moment and tell a story with it. And when you capture that moment, if people can't look at that picture and get a basic idea of what you were trying to tell them, then you didn't take the picture right. It has nothing to do with composition. It has nothing to do with all the technical terms or anything like that. Can I look at that picture and know that this is the message you were sending?
Right.
And I learned that from Gordon Parks, who was the first African-American photographer for Life magazine, right? And he was also the director of the original Shaft.
Okay.
Right.
Speaking of telling a story, can you tell us a story that you told that you recall that you would say that really touched you, and that's your most favorite memory of being a photographer?
Oh man, I mean, there's so
I'm
many.
sure you have.
Yeah, there's so many. I guess for me, it would have been my first few times doing BTS on a movie set. Back in 1989, I did The Abyss.
Oh, okay.
So that was interesting. That was its own avenue to itself. Then in 1990, I did Paris is Burning. And that's where I honed my skills for photography.
Okay.
That's where I added to them.
Okay. So are you a trained photographer, or you learned it on your own just?
Well, I grew up with George Hopkins, who was a photographer, wildlife, different events and things.
Okay.
And then I spent that time around Gordon Parks.
Okay.
So I picked up a camera.
Oh.
And my background is film. It's film camera.
Okay.
People don't realize there was film before there was the little disc.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did my thing was.
So
film.
you're pretty much self-trained.
Okay. Everything I've learned. I've gone to school. I've learned some from school.
Okay.
But I learned the technical terms and technical. This is what you have to do. The aperture triangle. Blah blah blah. But when it all comes down to it, the exposure triangle. I'm sorry. When it comes right down to it, what I've learned is with my hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, who was your mentor, or what got you into photography in the first place?
Growing up in the Bronx, you have options. You can be a drug dealer, or you can be in jail, or you can be a gang member. Those didn't fit.
Okay.
My mother wasn't having it.
Really?
My father definitely wasn't having it.
I'm sure.
So I had to learn something. I had to do something. So my parents got me a little Kodak. Well, no, I started with my mother's Brownie. Then I went to a Kodak pop-up with the little cube flash. And you had to take your pictures on one day, and then you had to wait a week because you had to go to Photo Mart and leave them there. Like, come on, man, I can't see my pictures until next Saturday.
Look, I would be having fits. I'm like, I want my pictures right now.
Right. That was the thing. It was like, come on now. Wait, I can't, but Photo Mart's right down the street, Mom. No, they're not ready. And you take that sticker and put it on your refrigerator with the magnet and just wait there like, when is Tuesday? So yeah, that was it. And I learned from doing that.
Okay.
And the film, and then my training, I guess if you had to say I had any special training, any real training, it was in Washington Square Park in New York, where all of the non-titled LGBT community was. Because they didn't have a title back then. And they were all out there doing their drag shows.
Okay.
And I learned very early.
I bet those are some beautiful pictures.
Oh, man. To be able to learn how to make the motion stop, to learn about the colors and the dynamics, that's where I had my fun.
Yes, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Those are probably my best moments. Those are working with other artistic people is my best, are always going to be my best memories.
Right. So where do you want to see your work?
I've already done 3 shows. I have another one that's coming up in, I believe it's the end of this year or the beginning of next year.
Okay.
A gallery show.
Okay.
So that'll be my 3rd or 4th gallery show.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I want people to just see it. I want them to see it. If you look around, you'll see some of my behind the scenes footage and those things. I want people to be able to enjoy it.
Right, right. I want to talk more about that. People seeing your work, and the reason why I want to talk more about that is because I know how diverse your work is. You've worked with some of the drag shows. I mean, that is one thing that I admired about you is because, a lot of times we would have events and photographers would pick and choose who they want to shoot. I mean, if it was a straight size model, that might be their preference. When it's an event with a diverse group of models, they would pick and choose who they want to shoot.
Right.
And one thing that I admired about you didn't do that. A model was a model for you. You were there to take a picture of the event, so you took pictures of all the models, and we appreciate that you have that mindset. And there wasn't any discrimination against models at the events because you were there taking pictures. So thank you.
Well, thank you for recognizing that. I've, again, going back to Washington Square Park, there was such a diverse group of people there that you took pictures. And when you start to segment people, and, well, I'm going to take a picture of this group, but I'm not going to take a picture of this. You never know what you're missing in the group that you didn't take the picture.
Right.
All right. A lot of my stuff goes to commercial. So when I take a picture, there's a possibility Lane Bryant, Torrid, okay, some of those brands, some of those companies would, wow, we really like that.
Right.
And, can we get this person, that person? And then when people would ask me about doing the fashion shows, the BBW shows, all right, why are you going to do that show? Why not?
Right.
Why not? I've had models on the other side, the thinner models, who have objected, who've gotten offended because I wouldn't take their pictures. And it's not that I wouldn't take their pictures. I'd blow the picture up and show them that they're there. But you're so thin, you can't be seen in the picture because you have this sense of entitlement that I should just take your picture. So when I did take it, I took the picture, but they would think, I don't look right. Well, that's on you.
Right. That
But
has nothing to do with the
that has nothing to do with
photographer or the camera.
Right.
Right.
But no, I've loved taking pictures of people.
Right.
People. If I'm taking an event, I'm doing the event.
Right. You're there. It's not your personal biases. It's not about you. It's about the event and what's happening at that moment. So if you're at an event that you're paid to be there to take pictures, it's not, hey, I want to only take pictures of this. It's not about what you want as a photographer. And that is what I admired about you. And that's what I'll leave it right there.
Well, photographers, I feel, first of all, I know a lot of photographers, they take pictures and then 5 minutes later you'll see them in the picture with the person. I don't need to be in the picture with the person. My job is not to be there. My job is to be invisible. Right. My job is to be there behind the camera to take the picture because the event is not about me.
Right.
I am just like the lighting. I'm just like the cameras. Only thing is, I'm the operator of the camera.
Right.
You don't need to see me.
As a photographer, there's so much beauty out there. And, sometimes we pick and choose what's beautiful. And some of the most ugliest things can be beautiful. There's beauty in everything out here. And as a photographer, that camera picks up all that beauty.
Oh, definitely. There was a school event. The person who does my hair, Pierre Scott, did.
I know Pierre.
Yeah, he did a back to school event.
Oh. He's been doing that for years.
Right.
Yeah.
And I went down and shot the whole event. I'm getting ready to pack up my gear. And he tells them, I'm talking about he had tables of food that were still uneaten, untouched. He told them to take it down to the park where the homeless people were. I followed them. I took those pictures.
Oh my goodness.
Because what you see as a homeless person, I see as the community giving back to that homeless person.
Yes.
I'm not concerned about the politics of why they became homeless.
Well,
I know what I saw.
And I like to say, give it back to that person. Yes.
Right.
We don't have to label them in their situation. I mean, you were watching them giving back to that person.
I was watching them
Yeah.
give it back. They walked across the street, down the street, and they packed it up in the car and drove it and fed these people.
That's
water,
awesome.
everything. That's a story.
Yes, it is.
That's a story unto itself that I captured.
And I think that's what takes you out of the realm of photographer and into those other areas of your expertise in what you do. If we're going to look at titles, that takes you out of that realm of just being a photographer. You were using those leadership roles and everything else, director of photography. You were using other roles at that moment, thinking outside of the box. It was more than just you were there to do an event and take pictures of a back to school drive. There was something else occurring at that moment.
Right.
That was important.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you caught that, and you know what? A lot of people may have not caught that. They've gotten there, done their job. Now it's time to go home. But you saw there was a bigger picture there.
Yeah, there's always a picture within a picture.
Right.
You just have to know how to look for it.
Right. So Chris, you're in the film world as well. You've done quite a few films that you've been photographer, cinematographer, director of photography. You've done that, and our audience can find all of that on IMDb up under Chris Lays.
Chris Arlay.
Chris Arlays. I think we have some media for that also. Tell us about your last project that you worked on.
The last project I worked on was Against the Ropes.
Oh.
It was done here in Arizona. It was done at the boxing gym on Van Buren, Central Boxing, I believe.
Okay.
Van Buren and 19th Avenue.
Okay.
And it was directed by, I cannot think of the young lady's name. Her last name is Edwards, a sister.
Oh.
And she did a lot of the background for it.
Oh, okay.
Brought me in to do the background BTS.
Okay.
I did the BTS, contributed a little bit to the
And that's
production.
behind the scenes for those of you that
I'm
know
sorry.
what BTS
I'm
is.
sorry.
That's okay.
BTS, what's he talking about?
Is that one of them boy bands?
Right. They get new kids, BTS, No, but it was really interesting to see the dedication of the crew that were there. There's no air conditioning in boxing gym. 106 outside. People were doing the work.
That's the film work in Arizona.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then you have one of my favorite projects that I've completed here in Arizona was with Dr. Rodney Pearson.
Okay.
All right, I was one of the directors of photography
Yeah.
for his movie Shaded
Oh,
Passions.
wonderful. I've heard good things about that film.
The message in the film could not be any more profound.
So I heard good things about Shaded Passion.
Yes.
Okay. So you've done lots of film work. Is that where your passion is right now, or are you?
I'm in between seasons. I'm at the point where if the film work comes, I'm going to do it. If the still work comes, I'm going to do it. I know that out of my respect and love for you, we rearranged our schedule
Yeah.
to be on the air when you did going down on the mic with us.
Yes.
And we talked about me coming on, and I said, definitely.
Speaking about going down on the mic, that is a podcast that you're one of the hosts on.
Yes.
Okay, just tell our audience a little bit about that.
We just handle a lot of different topics. Topics come, they're presented to us, we decide how we're going to do it, and we make it happen. There's a process that's coming up, group of programs that are coming up that is about the empowerment. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Just the empowerment. And we've spoken about it.
Yes.
You're a very empowering person. And in that, you have a lot of things that the community doesn't know about you. And so these shows are going to give people a chance to see what empowerment really is.
Wonderful, wonderful. I look forward to that. So where can our audience find you, Chris?
Are we talking about bill collectors or?
No, we're going to leave them where they are.
Okay. I just had to ask because I'm not putting it all out there. I can be reached through my company, info at chrislaymedia.com.
Okay.
I am on Instagram, Chris Lay Media,
Okay.
and just wherever something good's happening, I'll probably be there.
You'll be there, huh?
I'll be there.
Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. My
Thank
pleasure.
you, and I look forward to more from Chris Lays.
Thank you, Dave.
And thank you for joining us here today on Desertwood Days, and I'll catch you next time. Desertwood Days.